A couple of Ukrainian leaders this morning, they talk about the need for weapons, but they're all talking about cutting off Russian oil as well. Stephen, do we have you? Stephen,
no, that's exactly right. You know, the entire Russian economy is really financed with oil, and it is so frustrating and even almost immoral that here we are in a situation today where we're now actually importing oil from the Russians, and in fact, that means that we're actually inadvertently helping finance the Russian war machine, and that would not be happening if Donald Trump were president today. Under President Trump, 14 months ago, the United States was independent of oil from Russia and Saudi Arabia. So I do believe that this situation we're in right now is a direct consequence of a radical green energy policy by the Biden administration that wasn't taking into account the consequences of America giving up its energy independence. By the way, the Europeans are not blameless here either. Trump warned 5 years ago the Europeans to not become dependent on and addicted to Russian oil and gas. That's exactly what's happened, and I do believe that's one of the reasons we're in the predicament today, and the Ukrainians are fighting these Russian tanks in the streets of Ukraine.
Stephen, you are 100% right. I have been calling this the Green New Deal war because absolutely this should not have happened. And the bad part is that now we're seeing the Biden administration, because they're getting so much pressure about Russian oil, now they're going to go get oil from Iran. They're making deals now with Venezuela, these other bad governments. I mean, why is it that it just doesn't make logical sense that you would rather get oil and gas from Tehran than Texas or Oklahoma or Pennsylvania? I don't understand it.
And neither do the American people. And people are really fed up by this. You know, we have more oil and gas and coal, by the way. We have more energy than any of these countries do. I mean, think about, as you just mentioned, Texas, North Dakota, Alaska, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Think about the lost GDP. We're actually producing less oil and gas today than we were a year ago. And every time we know, it's very simple. At $120 a barrel today, which is what the international price is right now, we're about 1 million barrels less under Biden in terms of production. So do the math. That means we're losing $100 million a day. And a lot of that money, as you just mentioned, is going to our enemies. It's going to Venezuela. It's going to Russia. It's going to the OPEC countries. And it has become not just a crisis with respect to our economy, it's become a national security crisis, and it is so. I work for Trump. Every meeting we would have with Trump, he said, America is going to be not only energy independent, but energy dominant. Think of how the world would be different today and safer today if that were still the case.
Amen.
Energy is power. By the way, the implications of this are making their way home. National gas prices averaged this morning $4.01. Hey, Stephen, there's been this fascinating development over the past couple of days into a week or so where American corporations, in a shocking number, have basically canceled their business deals with Russia, from oil and gas companies to Visa and MasterCard being the latest saying they won't process transactions in Russia. My question for you is actually a little different. Do you think we would see the same type of corporate response were China to invade Taiwan? Do you think American corporations would solidify against doing business with China?
Great question.
Well, first of all, I want to applaud American corporations for doing the patriotic thing and boycotting Russia, because look, this is a tyrant and a murderer that is running Russia right now, and we have to stand with the Ukrainian people, which is what the American people want. We want to stand with the Ukrainians in every way that we can. Boy, it's difficult to say what would happen if you had I mean, think about what happens, God forbid, if the Chinese invade Taiwan. That's something none of us want to see. Will the American companies stand up to the Chinese government? I don't have a good answer for that, but they're so hooked on Chinese money right now. It might be that the answer to that question is no, but I hope the answer would be yes, because China obviously is 10 times the threat to American security that Russia is. Remember, China's economy is 15 times bigger than Russia's is.
Yeah, Stephen, I'd say that Russia's a problem, China is a crisis, and
Exactly. And that's why we better pay close attention to what's happening. That when you get tyrants running a country, as is happening in China right now with President Xi, we better start taking them seriously. The Wall Street Journal had a great editorial yesterday about this, that right now, this isn't just about Russia. This is about a country, unfortunately, that is looking weak. We're paying a high price for what happened with the catastrophe of Afghanistan.
Very much so.
Stephen
All
Moore.
right. Stephen Moore, not Stephen Miller. Stephen Moore, I know who you are, and we love you. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate
By the
it.
way, you talked about gas being $4.01. I live in Virginia. Last night I had to fill up. We're already paying $4.79 a gallon. Unfortunately, with the bigger spike, we may be looking at $5 a gallon gasoline across the country, and that is a self-inflicted wound.
Totally self-inflicted.
Exactly right. Stephen, thanks a lot
Thank
for
you,
joining us.
Stephen.